welcome back to the Critical Art Podcast. You know who it is, back from vacation, fresh. Hey. My meter is filled. I'm ready. It's Klev and the homie
Johnny to the mother effing phrase. What's up, guys? How you feeling?
Yeah. And today we got a special guest.
Hey, the most special guest.
The most specialist of all guests. Punchplanet's very own Lee Wolland, right? Hopefully I didn't butcher your name.
Close enough.
What's good, big homie?
Finally, nailed it.
We got you, man. We got you on the set, bro.
Glad to be here.
How you feeling?
Good.
All right. Let's get right into the question. We usually start off with the first one, and how did you discover your love for fighting games, Mr. Lee? Tell us what's the first fighting game you fell in love with?
I would probably say, completely fell in love. Was probably Alpha 1 or.
Wow.
Alpha 1 was like a life changer for me.
What was your main in that game?
I wouldn't even consider that I had mains at that point. It was more just the fact that I didn't really think that a game could look like that,
like the anime style.
Yeah, that's right. That's the first time Street Fighter went full blown anime.
Yep. Yeah.
But all the art in the I got on one, and all the art in the booklet.
That's right.
Blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember specifically that the original PlayStation 1, it would sometimes, the old consoles on the box, it would show games that were either out or coming out in a little picture.
That's right.
And Darkstalkers was on the box, and I was like, "What is that?"
Dude,
yeah.
Freaking
Darkstalkers. I remember I got Alpha 1 for PS1. That was the first Street Fighter game I bought on that console, and it was heaven as well. I played that nonstop.
Yeah, that's people. Some people don't realize too, though. Alpha and 3 didn't come out that far apart. In terms of how long Street Fighter games exist these days before they're replaced. But, PlayStation obviously came out well before Dreamcast, when you could start playing 3 at home. Yeah. So Alpha was how you played Street Fighter at home for a significant amount of time. Two I played in the arcades for fun. It was always a fun game to play, but and then the other one would be the Versus series games. Once those were in the arcades, I was just because they used the Alpha sprite, so I'm like, what is this?
That's true.
Is crazy.
Yeah, I love the Versus games, man. The arcades. All right, so let's move on. Lee, you are the art director for PunchPlanet, correct?
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about your art background. Where did you get your education?
For college, I ended up going to SVA, School of Visual Arts, in Manhattan.
That's a real school, guys.
It says Master Lee, baby.
That's the realest of art schools, guys. It's Pratt, right? Pratt, SVA. What am I missing?
NYU.
Yeah, NYU, right?
Art programs. And
Cooper Union.
Cooper has some great art programs.
Yeah, there you go. That's one of the big 3 art schools in New York City. Man,
you go to different ones for different reasons. SVA is notorious for its illustration department, and probably, I want to say, some other departments. But Cooper is, I think people go also for engineering there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And NYU photography, I think, and Pratt is a very more fine arts focused school.
So your main focus was 3D animation, right?
Yeah, unintentionally.
Unintentionally? How did that come to be?
Yeah, what's with that?
Growing up, I was lucky because my uncle worked with computers, so we got a computer pretty early on. And anytime there was a computer at school that I could mess with, like if it had like like MS Paint or whatever, I was like obsessed with doing that stuff. But not for animation, just drawing. I would just draw on paper or on the computer. And then when I applied to SVA, I applied for the illustration department, and the woman who was the administrator who reviewed and placed people, she convinced me to do the computer arts department instead. And that, it seemed like a good choice because I was already doing computer stuff. So I was like, okay,
man,
that's crazy.
She had a good pitch. She was like, you can either do the concept art for like a movie, or you could like actually make the stuff in the movie. And I was like, ooh. Little did I know, like, no, you actually just want to be the one designing it. You don't want to make it. But
Lee, so what influenced you as far as your art style? I mean, you already like told us some glimpses with Alpha 1, but like prior to games, like what were you drawing? Like what was your subject matter?
Well, comics, obviously,
okay.
huge influence. I had my mom took me to a like drawing class, like a sort of like anyone can sign up at like an art store type drawing class.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher was his name was Marcus, and he was a comic book artist. So that ended up having a lot of influence on me because I would, take classes with him.
Wow.
That's what's up.
And I had ADD, so reading the comics, not really my thing. But, looking for cool pictures in the comics.
Yeah, that's so funny, bro, because I did the same thing, man.
Yeah. Not into reading. So comics, big time. And Disney, big time.
Disney animations all day.
Yeah,
man.
and I mean, punchplanet's the first project I'm ever animated, seriously with, animation wise. I always focused on just comics. I thought I was going to do comics and storyboarding, and that was it. I mean, Disney and comics, and obviously cartoon shows,
That's God. That's God.
Yo, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
That's everyone, though, right?
But
I just described everyone's childhood.
Yeah, all of us. Yeah, but I just want to say that you guys listening, you guys don't know how dope Lee is. His art style is amazing. And Lee, do you remember any of the companies that you worked for since you started? Because I know you showed me a video of a snow commercial you done for a company with the snowman. Remember?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's just from work. So I'm like an outside contractor, as many of us are, and so anytime I work, there's just so many jobs. But I've worked on, if I was going to name stuff, or if people ask me and I'm going to say things that people might be familiar with, I've worked on like cinematics for Assassin's Creed or Lord of the Rings game, a lot of like video game type cinematic promotional type things. And then as far as big clients outside that, it's just like, Coke, Pepsi, Nike, Adidas, like those kind of standard, the ones that you always see do like something crazy for a Super Bowl. It's usually almost always some sort of Super Bowl focused ad. So yeah,
that's what's up. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about, so what's the real origins of Punch Planet? Like, did someone approach you because of your art, or was it like a collective thing? I don't even know the rest of the team really, to be honest with you.
Tell us how it started.
It's a 3-person team. We're missing Will and Paul. Will is the programmer battle designer, like programming director. I would be art director. Paul is the audio director. So it's broken up really simply. But origin wise, I'll start with Will actually, since we were both doing similar things, but he was much further along. So Will had been developing a fighting game engine in Unity in his spare time called the Double Tap engine, which was inherited into the
Basically, it's basically a time cancel, right?
It's like Roman cancel, where the whole game is based around Roman canceling. Right. But I didn't know this, but he had been sharing it on Reddit and various places. He had a blog about it, and I had a break from work, and I was learning. I wasn't in game development yet, only in making cinematics, and so I was like, oh, let me learn to make games. So I downloaded some softwares and was learning Unity and this other software called Game Maker, which is a little bit simpler, 2D based, like also making a fighting game engine, just to see what I could, do, more of a hobbyist type thing. But Moogle, you guys know.
Moogle the God, yeah.
Yeah. God. my bestie or whatever.
Best friend.
Yeah. He was like, hey man, you should check out this post. Like someone's making an engine. Like I know you're looking for something like that. Because actually I should mention, prior to trying to make the engine myself, or maybe it was after I had made the engine and was like, I'm not really interested in doing all the intricacies of the engine itself, just more like the animation pipeline stuff. I was trying to find someone to team up with, but it's very hard to find someone who A, is capable, and B, also shares the interest or knowledge base of fighting games, right? So, but I checked it out and I hit him up and I was like, hey man, I think we should team up, because I have this whole pipeline I built for integrating into a fighting game engine, and you have a fighting game engine that looks like it does what I need it to. So we just played some Street Fighter 4 and we're like, yeah, you're cool. Wait.
Let's unpack that a little bit. How did you determine he was cool from your Street Fighter matches?
I'm saying, we had to check each other out.
Right.
Yo, it was a straight warrior check, bro.
Yeah.
You did a warrior check?
Yeah, you had
to. Wait. Yo, a lot of people here don't know that we also met Lee on Street Fighter 4 lobbies.
Yeah.
Talking hella shit. He coming in, washing us. I literally met all my Street Fighter friends on Street Fighter 4 lobbies. Yeah. So it's so funny that he met another fighting game developer in the Street Fighter 4 lobby. God bless Street Fighter 4. God bless.
One, it had voice, right?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, we obviously both. It was obvious we both were. Well, I guess it's not obvious, but we were at the time. 4 was still my focus, and he said he liked 4. He's a very, very good player. There's footage of him playing, at Evo and all sorts of stuff. He's placed well, so he's a very, very good player.
Wow.
We didn't know each other, so it was like, oh, if we're gonna make a fighting game, what? I mean, you want to know the person you're
makes sense, right?
Understands, right? I mean, so anyway, we had to play each other. It just
so
it was good. It was great. Yeah,
John, that's some samurai shit.
That
bro.
was the first comment. That sort of was the basis of our.
Hashtag warrior check.
Warrior check, bro. That's the new shit, bro. You talk like. You want to work on a project with me? Let's see if you can handle this.
Yeah, hold on.
Handle my Hugo real quick.
Yeah, It was good. It was definitely. It was a match made in heaven.
I love it.
But we hit the ground running. I mean, after that, a few months later, I think we had a prototype that Will brought to Evo. And by that time, I want to say,
what year was that?
It was, I think, the first year Street Fighter 5 was at Evo.
Oh wow, it's been that long, dude.
Yeah, it's been working on that long.
So that's 2016. I saw you guys at 2017 at Evo. I was at the Bring Your Own Console setup and got to try Punch Planet. Like it was not complete, but pretty far along. And I was super hype about that, and I was like, I got to get this game when this is out.
Yeah, it's been going. I mean, EC. You're talking about ECT, right?
No, I'm talking about Evo. Evo 2017. I was there.
Well, but I think they were at ECT before Evo, right? Or
yeah, I feel like ECT was the first time. It was like great, right? Because we all finally got to get together.
Yeah. But the first time I played Punch Planet was actually at Evo. Yeah.
Okay.
That's so sick. All right, let's get into the wait, no, continue. So how'd you get the third person, right? The stream.
I was gonna say before we move on, I want to talk about Paul. So we got the prototype together, and we had been, bringing it around, and Will was bringing it to the weekly, and Paul, at the time Street Fighter V was quite popular. Paul was doing pretty well in the weekly over there, and but it was so Paul was seeing it, right? At a kid. I don't remember if there was multiple weeklies. I don't remember which weekly it was being brought to that Paul saw it, but Paul was basically like, hey, like I do sound, you clearly don't have a sound person based on the sound that you're using.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was quite bad. So
was it like a recording of you just like grunting?
No, it was just free sounds,
Yeah.
Just free sounds type stuff. And then I think Will did a like a warrior check.
Oh God, we had to check him too.
Will was. Paul, I'm sure, was pre-qualified because
that's some more blood, crip, gotta get jumped in. You know what I mean?
Your warrior check.
Warrior check. I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that he made out.
It worked. I mean, it worked great, and
I love the sound though. Punch Planet, the sound is like half
the music,
half of the game. Everything. The system voice, everything. It's incredible.
The system voice is also the announcer is a friend of mine.
Oh wow.
She's great. She was living in Japan until very recently and moved back. But so that's been great to have her to be able to do all that. But that's how the whole team got together.
Nice. Awesome. Nice. All right, so can you tell us a little bit of anything specific that inspired the art style of Punch Planet? Like, there's anything you watched that influenced it?
Well, one,
because it's beautiful, bro. Let me tell you, it came out amazing when you start adding more lighting effects and giving more of a 3D feel to it a little bit.
That's the tough thing too, because with this is how I also tend to present things at work, is I don't necessarily try to butter it up to be more presentable. Like, things are always just presented in their state, and so the game, when it first came out, just obviously it looks better now than it did at the time, but I didn't do anything to try to sort of force the game to look better than the state that it was in when we started presenting it. And it's always like it's always going to get better over time is the idea. But as far as inspirations are concerned, I pretty much approach every personal art project I have with a sort of game plan to figure out what the best style is going to be for the project, because I don't consider myself to have any specific style that I say, like, this is my style, this is how I draw.
My style is the best.
I always just change it based on whatever the medium is. And so for this, I was like, okay, well, I'd already been messing with a sort of mix between like Disney and Mobius type thing, and I was trying to get into some more of the French animation.
The simple shapes, and it's so popular now. That's so funny. You literally start this years before it became the Instagram artist meme. Now everyone's doing that French style, that simple style.
But that's the thing, is most of the work that I do is in the design world where we're trying to use styles that will become like commercially
wow, that's
good, right? And then and then you have to move on before it gets stale. Otherwise, it's not commercially appealing anymore. So the downside is this is a long-term project, and so that's become popular. And at some point, the style might become stale, but it's not a big deal. But the most important thing is what you mentioned regarding like the simplicity and the shapes of that style is with a fighting game, because the screen space of the characters is rather static.
Right.
You know, the character's always going to have the same size eye and the same size hands, unless you're a game where you kind of move the camera around like crazy, but that's not really the style that I'm going for. But in a case like that, if you pack it with too much detail, it's going to start to look messy and hard to read, right? So the idea is that the style lended to the goal we're trying to accomplish, which is the sort of impact of something like sprites, like, you know, Third Striker or whatever, or Alpha, but in 3D. So it's 3D, but it's still super simple and easy to read. And that's also why I wanted to do a style that didn't have lines, like outer lines. I really don't like cell shading where there's like a cell line around everything, like a dark line.
Like a thick outline, right?
Thick or thin, but just I think that it gives away the trick that it's 3D. Once a perspective happens with something like that, it doesn't look like something you draw. So not having the lines helps hide a lot of the stuff.
That's pretty trickery. It's a gorgeous game, man. You did well, bro. Oh, you're doing well, because you're still working on this, right?
Yeah, like where are we in the development cycle? Is it still early access, or are we past that? Okay,
well,
got it.
It's somewhat complicated now, just a little bit, but on PC and Steam, it's still in early access. It's going to be for a long time because we use the Steam version as it's like a beta for the completed game. So this year we're trying to get 2 more characters in. And then following that, we want to do, improve all the visuals and add all the extra modes. The version on Apple Arcade is not early access. We basically took the game that was already completed and we polished it and made it a finished package. And it will get the characters added and whatnot. But there's far more loose ends on the Steam version than there is in the Apple Arcade version, as far as, we have like modes on the Steam version that are just completely grayed out. Yeah. You can't even, and there's features on Apple Arcade not on the Steam version. There's survival mode and arcade mode and cinematics that are in that version that aren't on the Steam version. So,
can you guys talk? Can you talk about Apple Arcade? Like, what that was? How did you?
That's great.
Did you get approached, or was it like an application process? What's the?
I don't want to talk about it too much, but I will say I can say things that are just like known, which is, so for example, we were approached not directly by Apple, but we were approached, but there was also an application process, so it wasn't a secret system or anything like that. It just wasn't on our radar, and then it got put on our radar. So, but yeah, anyone can apply or could apply, and then they would review, or I don't really know how they pick it, but I'm sure there's some committee of people that narrow it down, and then it goes from there. But I think you might even still be able to apply. I'm not sure though. I haven't checked in a while.
Yeah, guys, if you don't know, if Apple has a subscription service called Apple Arcade, it's like $5 a month, and once you're in that subscription service, everything is basically downloadable for free. And Punch Planet is actually one of those games, and it's a full blast. I can connect my fight stick. I was the first human on this planet, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Lee, am I right? Okay.
No, you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm the
100%.
First human. Let's go,
Yeah.
baby.
First human on this planet to ever connect a fight stick.
I knew it would be you.
Yeah.
And who else would it be? The god.
And play freaking full blast Punch Planet on my phone and my iPad on my wireless Brook fight stick. Yeah.
That's something people. So to speak a little bit more about Apple Arcade, just outside of Punch Planet, specifically, one of the big parts about the update they did for iOS 13 when Apple Arcade came out is you can just connect Xbox, PS4 controllers, whatever you multiple to one device. So you can. It basically becomes like a Switch, right? Where you have two PS4 controllers hooked to your iPhone and you can play games that way.
Yep.
So there's also, I finally got a third-party controller, the 8-bit Do. I don't know how they say it. I got one of those hooked up, the arcade stick. So you can hook two of those up and play. It's pretty cool. But yeah, Apple Arcade, I'm assuming you can do that with non-Apple Arcade games as well, but
Yeah. The PS4 and the Bluetooth Xbox One controller.
Yeah. It has to be Bluetooth. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Can just pair to an iOS device now. But yeah, what's up with? Do you guys have plans for like Sony consoles or Microsoft? Like, is that in the works?
Yeah,
or?
like isn't
people
people
ask that a lot.
Epic Store.
Our strategy up until this point, at least, has just been to do everything like one step at a time, right? So even we had, like I said, Apple Arcade wasn't even on our radar. But when the game is at a point where we're very happy with it and we could do something where maybe it's like cross-platform or
that would be amazing.
Yeah, then we'll assess like what consoles are popular or being played at the time, and then try and hit all the platforms at once. Because like already, if we had jumped the gun on PS4, like we're probably gonna miss the PS4 window at this point. You know, I think it's backwards compatible. Like if PS4 is still being played, we'll support PS4. Will
the next generation, the approaching next generation consoles affect the visuals of the game? Or you guys are locked on the visuals right now?
I don't think, one thing we don't need is, to my understanding, is more processing power. Like our game runs on somewhat of a potato of a laptop, if you wanted it to.
Gotcha.
And that is not necessarily super intentional, I guess, but the art style lends to that because there's not a lot of texturing, not a lot of polygons,
and that's intentional. That's
intentional. Yeah. So you designed around what you had to work with.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just not a high demanding game graphically. What's demanding about it is what's demanding about every fighting game, I suppose, which would be it's 60 frames a second locked. And that's always a difficulty for games to play. You know, you can't frame drop as a fighting game.
Right. So I was also going to ask about Netcode. I mean, Netcode's been a big controversial thing, you know, in this COVID era that we're in right now. Even when Evo was announced, they only picked the games that were strong netcode wise. So like what was netcode a big part of the picture when developing Punch Planet?
Not when we first started. I think probably we always had GGPO on our minds.
Sure.
Because we want to have the best rollback netcode.
And it's free.
Well, now it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have good netcode. Street Fighter 4 netcode was acceptable for
we didn't know no better. Yeah.
If you were near someone, you know, it worked. If you weren't, like when me and Will played Coast to Coast, it certainly wasn't fantastic, you know. But we in our weekly have multiple people from the UK.
Wow.
GGPO is just magical.
Sure is.
That's great.
Dope.
Oh.
All right, so Lee, real quick, let's break down the characters and your inspiration to them. You don't got to get it into details, but like, let's start off with Roy.
So generally, I mean, the whole concept of the game is like a sci-fi satirical movie from 80s, 90s.
Like a Blade Runner, right?
Or like, I mean, I kind of think of it a lot also as Total Recall. With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
That's a huge inspiration because that movie is not a comedy by any means, but it's sort of like,
I mean, Arnold's in the
Wait,
movie.
it was never meant to be a comedy, but it sure plays like it sure.
Yeah,
it sure.
So although there's a lot of references to Blade Runner in the punchplanet universe, and in like, you know, who isn't going to take inspiration from Blade Runner? But generally speaking, Roy is meant to be this sort of tropish, you know, main character type from any of those movies that you would expect to see, especially since, I mean, punchplanet universe isn't self-aware necessarily in a sort of Rick and Morty way, but it definitely is meant to be very tropish and satirical. It's not meant, these characters aren't designed to be like, oh well, you know, you heard of Blade Runner, wait till you see Roy, you know. It's meant to be like so Roy fills that. He's I guess the Ryu of the game, if you want to call him that hero main character. And gameplay wise, he is meant to be very balanced, but not in the way that Ryu is balanced, in that more so in that he's really good far away and really good up close. You know, he's like a beefy zoner, more like a Goken, I would say, than a Ryu gameplay wise. He's scrappy, so
Scrappy. I like him, man. He's cool, bro. All right, let's move on to one of my favorites, Sid.
Yes.
Let's talk
Mine
about
as well. Yeah, well, we have the classic tropish hero. We need the classic tropish heroine. So, you know, Sid is very Sigourney Weaver.
That's what
she's got the hair too, the alien haircut.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's where she got the fro from, man.
So I kind of the idea behind her is actually, so you know, in the sequel Aliens, there's another character named Vasquez, who's kind of like a more heroic, you know, crazy type character, and so there's like some Ripley, there's some Vasquez, and then kind of like, I want to say that the villain in Avatar. This is a weird one, but I kind of draw inspiration from him. He's like got the scar.
Yeah,
and
he's the big military dude.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
he's lifting weights.
There's something about him, and then, you know, those three kind of together that make Sid.
She's like super mix-up heavy, right?
Yeah,
she's like very, I want to say footsie focused, because she's got great buttons and she can put the grenade down and walk behind it. I try to, if people ask me like, how does this character play, like, she's not a Chun-Li, but like there is something to be said about, like, you know, walking behind a slow projectile with good buttons, right? I mean, that's very Chun-Li. And mix-up wise, it's not the type of mix-up where there, you know, she doesn't have a command grab. So it's really just about high-low and walking behind the grenade. So that's basically what makes her unique to any of the other characters, is her punch buttons. You can hold down the button and it will charge up her knife. And if you fully charge it, it changes the properties of the move. So like crouching heavy punch becomes a launcher. The standing medium punch is an overhead. The crouching medium punch is an OTG. Very unique to her. No one else has that mechanic.
Well, she looks amazing, bro. She's really a dope design. Let's move on to my waifu for lifeu. Literally, the first character I picked, Tara.
I mean,
the goddess. She's 7 foot.
Yeah.
She's 7 foot tall.
And she hates crybabies. She hates crybabies.
Yeah.
Oh I mean, my God, this woman.
The game was made to facilitate this character. She's the first character I had designed.
Oh wow!
Before Punch Planet, this character has been in my library. Let's say, well before Punch Planet existed, as a character that I wanted to do.
So tell us a little bit about her design, because where did you get the purple skin and blue hair? It looks amazing.
Shoulder spikes.
I mean, the main
shoulder spikes is godlike.
The main inspiration is mostly just like all the stuff I grew up with as far as like the heavy metal movie. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Yes.
And then like Gem, the show Gem. Wonder Woman, She-Ra, She-Hulk. You know, basically it's like I wanted my of that, right? Everyone gets to make of that, like this Amazonian power woman, and I'm like, I want to have one that's mine, right? That so there she is. And I don't watch this show at all. Maybe I've seen 5 minutes of an episode, but a lot of people say she reminds them of Steven Universe, which I totally understand, and I think there's at least one or two like Google image searches I have of that show, like where I've definitely seen the show, but also like when I look at that show, I think of Gem, the show, which also has gems. That show, and Steven Universe has gems. So to me, it's all sort of the same. We're picking from the same
source of inspiration in a way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it works out like that.
But yeah,
you know?
I take it as a compliment for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the show's a classic though. Yeah, like it's a hit.
Yeah, I think mostly the colors also. Her colors have changed over time. Like her design, the colors weren't always exactly those colors, but those are the colors I settled on. And a lot of the times, the base color choices have a lot to do with the way all the colors have to work together against the backgrounds, right? Because there's no lines to outline stuff, so I have to be very careful about what colors I use for the characters and
the
backgrounds.
Because you don't have the outlines, you have to, use a little bit of color theory to bring them out from the background.
People will be like, "Oh, I want this color, this person," and I'm like, a lot of times I'm just like, "No, you're gonna clash my color wheel up." I'm like,
oh man! All right, let's move on to, my brother Leo's favorite character, the dog with an attitude.
Hey, actually, dog is my main. Dog is my
all right. Yeah, a lot of love for Dog, man.
I love Dog.
He's 5 years old.
Yeah.
He's a freelance assassin, bro. Come on. Yeah. This is all godlike tech right now, bro.
You mentioned Leo. If you guys don't know, that's Still Devious, and Still Devious. He's a guy main in Street Fighter 4. So, I play Dog. You could do a lot of runs, like kind of run stop mix ups. It's crazy.
It's great.
Kind of has like that Bushin flip type thing, where
it is so cool, man. Like we need more dog fighters characters in games. You know what I mean? This is the one thing he hates. He hates vets.
The vet.
I love it. Tell us a little bit about how he came to be, because he's pretty damn awesome, man.
Well, design-wise, I had a character that was going to be this assassin. And I was considering it being, one of those characters where it's like bipedal dog type. But
like a saber wolf,
or not a saber wolf so much as like what you would expect from
like a beast
where it's like they're people but they're dogs. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, I gotcha.
But at some point, I think I was talking with my brother about it, and we're just like, just make him a dog. You should just be a dog. Yeah.
It's such an awesome idea.
I was like, yeah, you should just be a dog. Like, I don't want to like animate a dog, but whatever. Like, we'll deal with it. Like,
oh God, that must have been so horrible, right?
I mean,
but yeah, well, why is dog's name Dog? Like, why is
dog's name Dog?
No, that had to be. It had to be Dog because his name was gonna be Dog no matter what. But I was gonna say Dog is heavily inspired by Red 13 from Final Fantasy VII.
Of course. But why not the scar? You didn't give him the missing eye.
Because it's too much. You know, you can't. It's too much. I might do a costume at some point.
Oh my God, DLC! But, you already got my money, bro.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a similar story, except obviously Red 13, after escaping and having his. I mean, he knows. Red 13 knows more about himself than Dog does. Right. Dog's in a set. You know, obviously. He just like he's out in the world. He talks. He's got to make a living, so he's just doing what he's good at, and that's pretty much it.
Yo, so next we got the cheapest character in the game.
Space Dabber.
Space Dabber. Agent G.
Agent. Yeah, Agent G.
God,
tell us a little bit about it.
I love it. I love Agent G.
I love him too, man. I love his stance. This is so cool.
Space Dabber.
It's so cool, John. I just want to do that shit every day. Like, talk to people while I'm doing this stance. You know what the hell? Dabbing left and right.
Were you, like, cracking up while you're animating the dabs? Like, what's up with that?
I mean, I knew... First of all, I was like, this... he's a... almost all the characters I knew. Like, okay, they're... Like, I have this character in mind. This character is going to be in the game. It's going to be perfect. Like... I knew I was putting like a space-time cop in this game, and that he was going to be like the Dan, you know, of the game to some extent. And then also he had to have like a permed mullet coming out of the back of his helmet. Like that was like
permed.
Yeah, there was no question like that. I made, and kind of back to the thing with Tiara, where it's like I need to have my version of this. Like this is like I'm making a Sentai who has hair that comes out of the back of their helmet, and he's gonna take himself super seriously, but be ridiculous, and he's also gonna be a bad guy even though he thinks he's a good guy. Like that is this Sentai that I have. Yeah, he's a heel.
You assume that he's a good guy because he's working.
Yeah. He thinks he's like, you know, saving the world, but he's actually awful. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, so dope. I love his design. Bro, all these characters design wise, like I said, you're a god, like, man, they truly are amazing. And it's so crazy that you're ahead of the time technically on what's popular now in terms of art style, which is pretty fascinating.
That was easy though, I have to admit, because, you know, when you're working in the design field, you see what sort of forming and what stuff that, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I use as reference is old. It just that's way ahead of its time, right? And then it's only becoming popular now, and I'm seeing it, and then I'm like, like this is gonna be big for sure.
Pretty awesome.
We got what? I think we have Max, right? Is it?
We have Big Max from Planet TO3D.
People either think Max is like the best character in the game or the worst character.
It's pretty good.
You know, I haven't played Max yet.
Another awesome design again.
I haven't logged on since Max, man.
Yeah. Max is, you know, I wanted to have a biker mice from Mars meets like
Biker Mice from Mars.
Like,
I totally forgot about that show.
He's like, I wanted to merge like Battletoads, Biker Mice from Mars, and Dragon Ball Z.
It makes
one
sense.
Character.
All of that, you definitely captured it because all of that is in this character.
Yeah, that was the goal. Him and Agent G are sort of like Saturday morning cartoon characters, if you will. Like Roy and Sid are the movie, like the 90s movie characters. Agent and Max are very cartoon show. Tiara is a little cartoon show, but mostly like the animated 80s movies, more adult movie type thing.
Red Sonja type vibe, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So everyone has, like I said, Dog is like very Final Fantasy inspired. So also Dog, fun fact, not the first character who is a dog in a fighting game whose name is Dog.
What? Who's
So
that?
that is his other inspiration, and he actually has a move from this character. In Tobal 2, there's a mode. You had to like import Tobal 2. It never came out, but if your PlayStation could play Japanese games, you could play it. But there's like an RPG mode where if you kill enemies, they become playable in the versus mode. And one of the enemies was just a dog. Like the dog attacks you, you fight the dog, you kill it, and then there's this playable dog as a fighting game character, and he has like the donkey kick, which is Dog's heavy kick.
Yeah, that's so dope, man. That's so dope that you're drawing inspiration from everything that we love and know as well.
That game blew my mind, Tobal 1 and 2, not just because the graphics were amazing, but because the art was done by the Dragon Ball Z artist. So,
I mean, and then you said you're working on 2 more. Is there any chance we can get a little hint?
Oh yeah,
what the next one is?
I wanted to talk about the updates. So we have before I get to that, there's a big update coming out very soon for Apple Arcade and Steam. On Apple Arcade, it will be online, so you'll be able to send friend requests through Game Center and play each other. It's got GGPO, and it's like the real deal.
That's crazy, man. I'm gonna
that is amazing.
You can post up with your iPad.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna post it up now. I mean, let's get it.
Right? We can play on iPad. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. You won't be able to play. It's not cross-platform, but Apple Arcade people play with Apple Arcade people. Steam people play with Steam people, because Steam version is also early access. Like they're not necessarily always going to be 100% in sync as far as what's being tested out. But the next and that's a huge balance and visual update. Not like the graphics, but a lot of animations have been fixed, replaced, and updated in that update. And then the next update will be the next character, which is, we previewed him. It's like a robot. He is not like he was when he was previewed. This character has gone through so much iteration. So that will be the next character. And it should be not that much later after the next update, but it won't be with the next update. They will be done separately, But he's a charge zoner.
Ooh, that sounds good. I like those. I like those.
I can't wait for his design. If it's anything like Agent G and Max, this one's gonna be great.
Well, as a Tiara main, I'm not super excited to play against a charge zoner, but people want this character, so yeah. And then there'll be another character after that, and then there is a strange amount of space between the last 2 characters and the bottom of the screen, where easily 2 more characters could fit, but nothing's been, officially stated about that. But I'd certainly like to do more characters than just 2 more.
Yeah, can I just ask real quick, how long does it take, hours-wise, to create one character?
It varies, but
The average.
I would just break it down to in order to create a solid character that you're happy with, where visually it can stand up against the quality of the rest of the characters, like bare minimum, let's say. Because I always iterate on the characters over time. There's never been a character I put it out and it's like, this character's done. Well, that's also the benefit of not doing sprites, is 3D can be iterated on super easily. But in order to get the character fleshed out, prototype, tested, and then revised, it's 6 months is probably a good timeline. Yeah, so that's fast.
That's fast?
That's very fast for 3 people.
Again, it's only 3 people. I keep forgetting that, man.
Yeah. But I mean, you have to imagine if I spend, let's say I spend like a month. A lot of time can get lost, or not lost, but even if I have the design set, once the modeling begins and I'm creating the character in 3D, there may be aspects of the design that don't work in 3D. they're not translating well. And so I then have to sort of trial and error in 3D, and then those changes then go back into the 2D design so that they're in sync. So that can take some time and is sort of an unknown. It can work on the first try, or it can take a few times, and then I got to rig it and then animate it, and then we get into situations where I can make the whole character, it's a prototype, and we play it, and then maybe certain aspects of the gameplay just aren't working at all, and certain moves just get completely removed and replaced.
Wow.
So,
and then I just realized once you're done with the 3D portion, you have to go back into the 2D and do all the assets for everything else besides the game, like the website, the art, just...
Oh, yeah. So much of my time, unfortunately, is spent, because I'm basically like the game's producer, so I do pretty much everything on that end.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the website, every time a new character gets added, or like there was a time where Chiara, I'm committed to my own changes, really. So what happens is, Chiara, I changed her face pretty dramatically 1 year over the, like from one Evo to the next, let's say. Well, I had to go back into every single asset we have for the website, for social media, for the game, and replace her face. So
that's nuts.
Fix your face.
Fix your face over again, but several times.
But that's the beauty of early, there could be things that change down the road that people might not even like, but it's just like maybe because they're attached to how it was. But at the end of the day, this game is still like a massive artistic work in progress for me. So there's definitely the same way, like you were saying, the game visually has gotten better, right? So it's gonna keep evolving.
It's gorgeous. But when you start adding those dynamic lightings, and it's just you just I don't know, man. It's just really good. The one key thing about fighting games is it's gotta look good. It's gotta look good to look at, and it looks good.
Yeah,
this game is.
It really does.
I really wish I spent more time learning to animate in school, because that's sort of important now to making the game look good. But the more I do it, the better, the animations get. So
nice.
Well, all right, Lee. I mean, that's pretty much it for us. Yo, thank you so much for joining us, bro. You the god, Lee.
Yeah,
you're amazing.
Thank you for
we love you, bro. We love you, bro. Come on, man.
I want to get I'm gonna say at some point, doesn't have to be soon, obviously, when especially if the game's on console at some point, we'll start to try and get a fun little weekly together or something with the guys.
Let's do it. What?
Yeah.
Let's get it popping. We got you,
now,
bro.
I know. Yeah, it's tough now. I know, just because Steam, it's only on Steam, so I know a lot of guys just play on PS4 and stuff.
Console, I'm not gonna lie, I'm waiting for console myself. But just
No, I would too. Man.
Lee, where can people find you if you want to be found?
Don't find me. This guy. Yeah, don't find me, please. But
find Punch Planet. Don't find Lee. Find Punch Planet.
Yeah, don't find me. At Punch Planet. Yeah, everything's at Punch Planet.
That's easy. Okay.
The Twitter.
Literally, just Google Punch Planet, and Twitter, everything will come up.
Punchplanet.com. Punchplanet.com is a lot of stuff if you want to find the individual social links. But if anyone the DMs or whatever are open on the Punch Planet account. So people have questions, I just direct them where to go. It's no big deal. It's usually me. So
also there is a Discord.
Oh, the Discord, yes. And that one also, just discord.gg/punchplanet. So easy to find.
All right.
The community in there, so friendly. So you literally can show up, know nothing about the game, and more than a few people will be happy to, teach you how to play and all that stuff. So.
All right, John, any last words?
No, I'm good, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think everyone listening will definitely appreciate what it now takes to freaking make a game. All right, Lee. Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Before we go and get up out of here, we got stickers. We got the shop. We've been working on a lot of things. So you know what it is. jxkdesigns.com.
Yeah, we got
that good stuff.
Yeah, we also got Rival Fools this weekend, guys. So
that's right, Rival Fools.
Rival Fools 5. We're in the 5th one, and I got some kind of good news to share, guys. We once COVID's over, I got a venue for a real live Rival Fools event, and it's
definitely gonna get punchplanet in there.
It's at a local brewery.
Nice.
Yeah, with and my homies can DJ it. It's gonna be live, so that's gonna be like my fuel to keep going. So hopefully we'll see you guys there if you're in the New York, New Jersey area. All right, guys. Yep. Other than that, I'm Johnny Fraze. We got Lee from Punch Planet here. My boy Klev.
Sir. Here.
Right. This is Critical Podcast. We out. Peace.
Peace.